When Mafia King Kieran Blackwood dragged me from my broken life with 4 terrifying words, "You're coming with me," I discovered I wasn't just his captive, but the granddaughter of his deadliest enemy. Now trapped in his marble fortress with forged marriage papers binding me to him, I had to navigate a world where every kiss could be manipulation and every gentle touch might hide a blade. But when I started craving the monster's touch more than my freedom, the real question became, was I falling for my captor, or was I finally becoming the predator I was always meant to be? I counted pills in the hospital pharmacy, my hands shaking from too much coffee and too little sleep. The bruise on my cheek had faded to yellow, but the fear still lived in my chest. Every footstep in the hallway made me jump. Every male voice made me freeze. "You okay, honey?" asked Janet, the older nurse who sometimes shared her dinner. "Fine," I lied, the same way I always did. I had no idea that across the city, Kieran Blackwood studded photographs spread across his oak desk. Each image showed me, dark hair pulled back, tired eyes, white scrub stained from long hospital shifts. I had no idea who I really was or what my blood meant to him. 3 hours before dawn, I was restocking supplies when I heard the commotion. A man's voice, deep and commanding, asking about his brother who had been shot. I turned the corner and froze. He was beautiful in the way dangerous things often were. Tall, dark hair perfectly styled, eyes like winter storms. When those eyes found mine, something electric passed between us. My breath caught. "Excuse me," he said, moving toward me with the grace of a predator. "I'm looking for Marco Reeves. He's my brother." My training kicked in despite the way my heart hammered. "Room 304. But visiting hours." "Please." His hand touched my arm, gentle but somehow claiming. "I've been so worried." The touch burned through my thin scrubs. I should have pulled away. I should have run. Instead, I found myself nodding, leading him down the quiet hallway. 8 hours later, I woke up in a bed that wasn't mine, wearing clothes I didn't remember putting on. Sunlight streamed through windows too large for any apartment I could afford. My head felt thick, like swimming through honey. Papers lay on the nightstand beside me. Marriage papers, with my signature. The door opened and he walked in, the beautiful stranger from the hospital. Only now his eyes held no warmth at all. "Good morning, wife," Kieran said, his voice cold as winter rain. "We need to talk." When I tried to stand, to run, to scream, he spoke 4 words that changed everything. "You're coming with me." The Blackwood compound stretched across 20 acres of manicured grounds, surrounded by walls topped with razor wire that glinted like teeth in the morning sun. I stood at the bedroom window, watching men in dark suits patrol the gardens below. Each one carried a gun. "Breakfast is served in the dining room," said Maya, the woman assigned to watch me. She was small and pretty, with scars on her knuckles that told stories I didn't want to hear. The dining room table could seat 20 people. Kieran sat at the head, reading papers while he ate. His sister Raven sat to his right, all sharp angles and calculating stares. She looked at me like I was a bug that needed stepping on. "So this is grandfather's little lost lamb," Raven said, not bothering to look up from her coffee. "She's smaller than I expected." My fork froze halfway to my mouth. "Grandfather." Kieran finally looked at me, those winter storm eyes giving nothing away. "Marcus Volkov, your mother's father. The man who's been trying to kill me for 15 years. The words hit me like cold water. I had no memory of any grandfather, no family at all. My mother died when I was 5. My father when I was 12. Foster homes after that. Then the streets. "You're lying," I whispered. "DNA doesn't lie, sweetheart." He slid a folder across the table. "Test results, family trees, photographs of people who looked like me. Welcome to the family business." That afternoon, I tried to run. The compound's walls were 12 feet high, but I found a service gate near the kitchen gardens. My fingers had barely touched the lock when strong hands grabbed my shoulders. "I wouldn't," said Julian, a man with kind eyes and a gentle smile. He was one of Kieran's captains, but something about him felt different. Safer. "The cameras see everything, hey. But maybe we could talk sometime. About options." His words planted seeds of hope in my chest. Days blended together in the golden cage. Kieran left for business each morning, returning with blood under his fingernails and darkness in his eyes. But sometimes, when he thought I wasn't looking, I caught him watching me with something that looked almost like hunger. Our first real fight happened over dinner. I threw my wine glass at the wall, and he was on me in seconds, pinning me against the window. His body pressed against mine, hard and warm and terrifyingly solid. "Let me go," I breathed. Instead, his mouth crashed down on mine. The kiss was violent, desperate, tasting of wine and danger and things I shouldn't want. When he pulled away, we were both shaking. "This changes nothing," he said, but his voice was rough. I touched my lips, still burning from his kiss, and wondered if I was losing my mind or finding it. The charity gala sparkled with crystal chandeliers and $1,000 gowns, but I felt the danger underneath like ice water in my veins. Kieran's hand rested on my lower back, warm and possessive, as he guided me through the crowd of smiling predators. "Remember," he murmured in my ear, "you belong to me tonight." I wore emerald silk that cost more than I used to make in a year, but I felt naked under the stares of rival family members. When Victor Petrov approached with his cold smile, Kieran's fingers tightened on my waist. "Blackwood," Victor said, his accent thick as honey, "and this must be the famous bride." Before I could speak, Kieran's mouth claimed mine in a kiss that burned through me like fire. It was meant to mark territory, to show ownership, but my body betrayed me by melting against him. When he pulled away, every eye in the room was watching. "Mine," Kieran said simply, and Victor's smile turned sharp as a blade. That night, I pressed my ear to Kieran's office door and heard him speaking Russian to someone on the phone. My mother's language, the one I barely remembered. But I caught enough words to freeze my blood. Contract. Eliminate. Grandfather. The kidnapping happened 3 days later while Maya was changing shifts. Julian appeared in my room like smoke, his kind face twisted with something that might have been regret. "I'm sorry, Arya, but this is bigger than you know." The warehouse smelled of rust and old fear. Marcus Volkov sat in shadows, a man made of sharp bones and bitter hatred. His eyes were my mother's eyes, but cold as winter graves. "My little granddaughter," he said, reaching out with liver-spotted hands. "Do you know what he did to your parents?" The photographs made me sick. My mother and father, young and laughing, then covered in blood on a warehouse floor. Kieran stood over them, barely more than a boy himself, holding a smoking gun. "An accident during negotiations," Marcus whispered. "But dead is dead, child. Will you help me make him pay?" I was still staring at the photos when the explosion started. Kieran came through the warehouse like death itself, his men spreading out like wolves. Julian died first, Kieran's bullet taking him between the eyes before he could beg. 3 more of Marcus's soldiers fell before they could draw their weapons. I watched Kieran kill with the same cold efficiency he used for everything else, and felt something dark unfurl in my chest. Not fear, not horror, something that tasted like hunger. When the smoke cleared, Kieran knelt beside my broken chair, his hands gentle as he cut me free. "Are you hurt?" I touched his face, traced the cut on his cheek with my thumb. "You killed them. They took you from me." That night, we made love in his bed like the world was ending, my nails leaving marks on his shoulders, his mouth worshipping every inch of my skin like prayer. The war came at dawn with the sound of breaking glass and automatic gunfire. Marcus Volkov's army surrounded the Blackwood compound, 50 men with nothing left to lose. I watched from the upstairs window as muzzle flashes lit up the garden like deadly fireworks. "Stay down," Kieran commanded, checking his weapon with practiced ease. His face was carved from stone, but I could see the fear he tried to hide. Not for himself. For me. "I'm not hiding anymore," I said, and meant it. The battle raged for 2 hours. Kieran's men held the walls while bullets shattered windows and painted the marble floors with blood. Raven took a hit in the shoulder but kept firing, her face twisted with rage. Dex fell defending the kitchen, and I felt something cold settle in my chest where warmth used to live. When Marcus finally stepped through the smoking wreckage of the front door, he moved like a man already dead. His suit was torn, his white hair stained with ash, but his eyes burned with 30 years of hatred. "Where is she?" he demanded, his voice echoing through the ruined house. I walked down the grand staircase like a queen descending to her throne. I wore black now, not the white of innocence, and the gun in my hand felt natural as breathing. Every step was measured, controlled, beautiful in its terrible purpose. "Hello, grandfather." Marcus smiled then, thinking he had won. "My dear child, come to me. We'll build something new from the ashes of this place." "Yes," I said softly. "We will." The bullet took him center mass, dropping him to his knees. His eyes went wide with shock, then something that might have been pride. "You have your mother's aim," he whispered, and died smiling. Kieran found me standing over the body, the smoking gun still in my hand. Around us, the surviving Volkov soldiers knelt in surrender, their loyalty transferred to the granddaughter who had just claimed her inheritance. "It's done," I said, not looking at him. "Two families, one empire." He reached for me, but I stepped away. When I finally met his eyes, he saw the girl he'd captured was gone forever. In her place stood someone harder, colder, infinitely more dangerous. "Marry me," I said. "For real this time. Not because you forced me, but because I choose you." 3 months later, I stood in the same bedroom where this had all begun, one hand pressed to my growing belly. Kieran knelt before me as I'd never imagined, his head bowed, his lips pressed to my fingers. "My queen," he whispered. I looked down at the monster who had created me, who now worshipped at my feet, and smiled. The broken girl was dead. Long live the queen.